Hello, and welcome back to my basement. Movies. Often seen as a form of escapism from the harshness of reality. The movie theater is often seen as a magical place where you can watch all sorts of scenarios unfold no matter how illogical and unrealistic they may seem. However, film is an artistic medium, and like any artistic medium, there are different styles to which the art is portrayed. One of those styles is realism. Now, realism isn't exclusive to film, no, not at all. Realism has existed for almost as long as art itself has. Realism is simply the pursuit of portraying the subject matter of your art in the most realistic way possible. As far as the art of film goes, realism has existed since the beginning of cinema. But this is not a history of realism in cinema, no, not at all. This is simply a video looking at and comparing two different modern-day filmmakers who both make films in the style of realism. These two filmmakers that I'll be looking at today are Sean Baker and Harmony Korine. In particular, we will be comparing Sean Baker's 2017 film, The Florida Project, and Harmony Korine's 1997 film, Gummo. But in the pursuit of realism, how about we leave the basement just for today and go somewhere a little bit more real? Wow, what a beautiful day. I can't think of anything else more real than the great outdoors. Both Harmony and Sean take a look at low-class America in these two films. We see the decay of a portion of the United States that most of the world shoves to the side. In both films, this decay is shown through their perspective of children, and we see how they are able to make the best of the situation that they have to be in. We see these children spend their days trying to beat the boredom of everyday life. Instead of having to face the harsh realities of the world head-on, they view it through the lens of a child who sees their disturbing reality as normalcy. Despite the similarities of these two works, Harmony and Baker approach the subject matter in their own distinctly different ways. Before we dive into what sets these films apart, let's take a look at the filmmakers themselves. Harmony Korine was born in California in 1973, but moved to Nashville in the early 80s.
My dad made documentaries, and I just followed him around as a kid, carnivals and circuses. He would just make films about kind of strange characters.
Later, when he was living in New York City, he met a filmmaker named Larry Clark who asked him to write a script. This script is what became the film Kids. It was released in 1995 and was very controversial for its portrayal of teenagers. Despite, or maybe because of the film's controversial nature, the movie gained a cult following and was deemed a success for Mr. Korine. After the release of this film, Harmony started to be recognized as a serious screenwriter, and because of this, Harmony's next film, Gummo, found funding rather quickly. This next film was a personal project for Mr. Korine, who had a town destroyed by a tornado which was never able to fully recover. The film mainly follows two kids, Tumblr and Solomon, as they spend their time biking around the town looking for their rival and occasionally killing cats. The movie also features many other characters in town doing miscellaneous things like looking for a lost cat, playing tennis, arm wrestling, boxing, or just hanging out. The film's looseness is almost its point. The movie uses these characters to tell a story about the town of Xena, Ohio, and how these characters, many of whom are minors, live these tragic lives simply because they don't know anything different. This is a comparison that can be drawn with The Florida Project, Sean Baker's 2017 outing. Unlike Harmony, Sean had a long career in filmmaking before he found any kind of major success. He was born in New Jersey in 1971 and received a bachelor's in film studies from Tisch School of Arts in New York City. His first film was entitled Four-Letter Words and was released in the year of 2000. It followed several young adult men's everyday lives and attitudes. The films that Sean Baker made after all were similar in the aspect that they followed the real lives of real people. In 2004, he made a film about an illegal Chinese immigrant. In 2012, he made a film about a porn actress. In 2015, he made a film about a transgender prostitutes. And all of his films deal with their subject matter in very sensitive and respectful ways that sheds light on these forgotten parts of America without coming off to in poor taste. In 2017, he released what is probably his most popular film, known as The Florida Project. The Florida Project follows Mooney, who is a young girl, and her mom, Haley. Throughout the film, we see Haley constantly struggling to provide for her kid, and as the film goes on, we slowly see her start turning to more desperate matter. Meanwhile, Mooney and her friends beat their boredom by exploring this poverty-stricken area of the United States. They explore abandoned houses, watch cows roaming in fields, trick people into giving them money for ice cream, and just explore the less glamorous side of Orlando. To them, it's normal. It's all they've ever known, and possibly all they ever will now. These kids see and do typically taboo things. They are very foul-mouthed. Their parents smoke around them, and they are exposed to all sorts of colorful characters, but to them, it's normal. These things are seen through the oblivious and whimsical mind of an innocent child. It's an extremely tragic story that is disturbing and depressing, but isn't outwardly marketing itself to be so. It shows an innocent view of the world. These kids don't understand that people are out to hurt them, or that not everything is always good, or that the situation they're living in isn't normal. But they can't understand that, and as a viewer, we can, and that's why the movie is so depressing. Despite the many shared aspects of these two films story-wise, the movies both display their stories in a much different way. In Gummo, Harmony Korine almost shoves the greenness of the situation down your throat. The film makes you utterly repulsed in order to get a reaction out of you. There are many disturbing scenes in the film, like cats being drowned, people getting pulled off life support, etc., etc. In all of these situations, none of them are really shown in a respectful manner, and they're all in pretty poor taste. These scenes are there to make you so disgusted and disturbed. You realize the harsh reality that these people are living. Not necessarily the real people living in the real town of Xena, Ohio, because this shows the fictionalization of the town. It's not really showing what happens there. But instead, we should view the film as a look into the lives of the millions of Americans living impoverished lives all around the continental United States. On the other hand, the Florida Project doesn't resort to these tactics because it doesn't really feel the need to. It doesn't need to purposely repulse you or disgust you in order to prove a point. It is able to prove its point by showing you the world in which these characters live in, and unlike Gummo, the Florida Project doesn't make an artificial world for its characters. No, the world that Mooney, her mom, and her friends live in is a real one that's genuine. This genuineness allows the film to stick with you and allows it to really showcase the truth that hides where no one dares to look. Any moments that may come off as disturbing in the film are not manufactured to be this way. Instead, the film just allows the true horrors of our modern world to unfold in front of us. The setting of Orlando, Florida isn't one that is chosen to be a backdrop for the tragedies. Instead, it comes alive in the film and is almost inseparable from the story itself. If we look at two different scenes from both movies, we'll see just how different these two movies truly are in their presentation. Just a warning, this section deals with sexual assault and pedophilia, so skip to this time code here if you want to skip past that sort of thing if you're sensitive to it. So in Gummo, 3 girls are looking for their lost cat. A man says he knows where the cat is and takes them in his car to where he says he saw it last. He pulls into an empty parking lot, and it quickly becomes apparent that he's only there to sexually assault one, if not all, of the girls. The girls escape, and the scene ends. The scene exists in the movie not for character development or any real reason outside of disturbing you. The scene's practically pointless. A lot of scenes in Gummo are like this, but if we compare it to a scene in the Florida Project, we will see the Florida Project is much different, like I've been saying. So in this scene, an older man comes up to a group of several children playing outside of the motel. He starts asking the kids what their names are and tries to lure them away from the motel. But Bobby, the hotel manager, played by Willem Dafoe, sees this and asks the man what he's doing. The man says he's there to get a soda, so they both go to the soda machine, and after the man gets a soda, Bobby tells him to leave his property and never come back, or he will call the police on him. The scene's not very direct, although it is clear to us what's going on, but the word pedophile is never used once. The events are never brought up again, and the man doesn't reappear, but the scene is pivotal for Bobby's character. We see how much he cares for the kids that stay at his motel, and how he's a very well-meaning man. This characterization allows us to sympathize with him towards the end of the story when he has to help make an important decision for Mooney that will likely affect her for the rest of her life. The whole scene is told as if it were being seen through the eyes of a child, an innocent child. These two scenes show how the movies are similar but ultimately completely different. One other thing that sets Sean Baker apart from any other filmmakers in today's world is that instead of telling a story in this area, in the area of Orlando, like in Florida Project, he tells a story about the area. The locations are characters in themselves, whether it's Orlando, Los Angeles, Texas City, all of these cities come alive in these films, showing you the true nature of the location, not just on a surface level like many other filmmakers may do, but actually studying the area and the culture within it. Depending on what the area the story takes place in is, the style of the story may change completely. The Florida Project's location is close to Walt Disney World, an amusement park known for its magical and whimsical nature, a sanctuary for young and innocent children. The style and story of the movie reflects that. Tangerine takes place in the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles, and to reflect this, the movie is presented in an almost chaotic and hectic way. Not at all. My goal was simply to showcase what sets these films apart, and more broadly, how the different ways a story is presented can affect your view of said story. For me personally, when I watch a Sean Baker film, the characters and stories shown come to life and are really able to deeply affect me on a personal and emotional level. All of his films, something within me I'm able to relate to. Harmony, on the other hand, makes films that may disturb me in the moment, but once the movie's over, I don't feel as if I took anything away from the film or its characters. I just don't feel as much emotional weight to Harmony's films as I do with Sean's. However, film is a very personal medium, and because of that, it is a subjective one. Everyone's experience with a film is going to be different. That's what makes cinema so beautiful. You know, it's getting kind of chilly out here. How about we go back to the basement? Anyways, I hope you were able to take something away from this video, and if you were, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like and you subscribed, as it really helps me out in the algorithm of YouTube and all that jazz. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.